Tasmai Shri Gurave.
Hello and welcome to Silent Wisdom Online Satsang. It's so good that we can connect here on this platform. So I thought let me introduce today the song of the Mahamudra by Tilopa. Many of you may have already heard about Tilopa and this lineage. So there was Tilopa, his disciple was Naropa, from Naropa, Marpa, and Milarepa. After that, it has not been as strong. But the kind of work that they have given is beautiful. So let's first start by learning something about Tilopa. And I always used to think about Tilopa as a Tibetan monk, which of course he is, but he was actually an Indian. I didn't know. I thought he was a Tibetan only. So Tilopa was an Indian Buddhist monk who was in the 10th century BC, supposed to be born around 988 BC and left his body in 1069 in the lineage of Tibetan Buddhism. And he lived along the Ganges river and practiced something called Anuttara Yoga Tantra, which is a set of spiritual practices intended to accelerate the process of attaining Buddhahood. This is very complicated processes of Tantra in the Buddhism tradition. So if you see, Buddhism is also pretty vast, like Kashmiri Shaivism. You have the top where Buddha is talking about Shunyata, and then for different kind of practitioners, all different ways, different means, different sadhanas are there. And he is the one who received and passed on the Mahamudra to his disciple Naropa. Naropa was again in the 11th century, born about 1016, and he was there until 1100. So we will talk about Mahamudra a little later. Now Tilopa was born in a royal family, very, very rich family, but when he was very young, still almost a child, he was visited by a Dakini. I don't know how many of you know about what a Dakini is. I had first read about Dakini in the books of, where there is mention of Shambhala. So Dakinis are supposed to be the female Buddhas, or you can say spirits, who come to guide spiritual aspirants, and they inspire the practitioners. So as a child, Tilopa was visited by a Dakini, and who told him that the parents that you have been born to are not your parents. They are not your real parents. Your real parents are wisdom and emptiness. Your mother is wisdom and your father is emptiness. And those are the parents that you need to live with. And she told him that you need to live like a mendicant. Mendicant meaning a beggar, like a very, very simple life. And that is what, after listening to her, he actually left his house and started living near the Ganges. He traveled a lot throughout India and he learned from many, many gurus. He's supposed to have learned Tammo from Saryapa. Have you all heard about these practices? These are all tantric, esoteric practices. Tammo, which is a very popular Buddhist practice. From Nagarjuna himself, he received radiant light. I don't know what is supposed to be meant by radiant light over here, but since he had an initiation from Nagarjuna, definitely must be something amazing on the path. Then from Lavapa, he learned dream yoga. And finally from Matangi, he learned resurrection of dead body, how to resurrect dead bodies. To tell you a little about Matangi, let me share with you all. Matangi is actually a Hindu goddess, one of the 10 tantric goddesses or Mahavidyas. She's also supposed to be the tantric form of Saraswati, Goddess Saraswati. Her worship is prescribed to acquire supernatural powers, which is gaining control over enemies, attracting people to oneself, being able to influence other people, acquiring mastery over arts, and of course, gaining supreme knowledge. So these are all the aspects that are given towards Matangi. And very interesting thing which I found in life of Tilopa, that Matangi advised him when he was living near the Ganges. She said, now you have to start living under a prostitute. Okay, you have to go and work in a brothel under a prostitute as her bouncer. Can you believe that that is what the guru is telling Tilopa to do? And he did that. He actually left his, whatever work that he was doing and started working under this prostitute in a brothel as her bouncer. And he used to do all the work that was required there. And there, in a brothel, it was Tilopa during a meditation, he received the Mahamudra. Now, when we say receive the Mahamudra, of course, this is something which happens because of the grace. So it was not something that he did, but as a part of the grace, it was received by him. And once he received it, then he was, after that, looking naturally for a disciple, that who is it that he can pass this Mahamudra to. And when he was looking, he traveled all over India, but he actually could not find anyone. So he was just going around. And meanwhile, of course, later on he found his disciple, which is Naropa. And for him, when we talk about the song of Mahamudra, it was for Naropa that he had sung the song of Mahamudra. But let me first tell you a little about Naropa as well. So Naropa again was he's supposed to be born into a Kashmiri Brahmin family. He was a Kashmiri Brahmin, and he used to sell wood. That was his occupation. At the age of 28, he realized that he was not supposed to be a family person. He was married, but with the consent of his wife, he dissolved the marriage. And at 28, he entered the University of Nalanda to study tantra. That is where he joined. And soon he gained the reputation of a great scholar and a faultless debater. He actually became extremely popular, very, very famous over there. So it is said that during those times when he was at Nalanda University, again, a Dakini had appeared to Tilopa and guided him. A Dakini appeared to Naropa as well. And the Dakini asked him if he understood the words of the Dharma, the Buddhist teachings. And Naropa said, yes, I do. And the Dakini started crying, and she burst into tears, and she said that you are a liar. She said that, you know, but you don't understand them. Okay. And then she said, only Tilopa knows the teachings. Only he understands the teachings, Tilopa. And it so happened that the moment Naropa heard the name Tilopa, there is something where he experienced an ecstasy just by hearing the name Tilopa. He just felt as if a great urge inside him to go and meet him, find him, and learn from him. And he, within very few days, he left the Nalanda University and went in search of Tilopa. And Tilopa, of course, they met. And it is supposed to be that near the Pashupatinath temple in Nepal, there are caves. And there is one cave where actually Tilopa had passed on the Mahamudra to Naropa. Another interesting thing that I want to share with you, which I, as I was doing research on them, I came to know is that there is actually a university. He was considered to be a part of the 84 Mahasiddhas, Naropa. And there is actually a university in the USA on his name. It is called Naropa University in Colorado, where you have these graduate programs, postgraduate programs, and they run programs on tantra, Buddhism, and psychology. And they have something called a psychotherapeutic technique which is only taught in that particular university, which is called contemplative psychotherapy. It really interested me because I have not heard about this kind of therapeutic practice, in my understanding of it is not a very popular thing, but something which is very interesting. So, which includes the use of Buddhist practices, insights which come from the spiritual tradition of Buddhism, with a combination of Western psychology, like what the Western psychologists and psychiatrists have understood. Combining them, they have this contemplative psychotherapy in Naropa University, which uses mindfulness and compassion as very important techniques to help people. Now, we will get into the teaching, the song of Mahamudra. Now let's understand what is Mahamudra. What is meant by Mahamudra here? Mahamudra means a total orgasm with the universe, a total orgasm. It's actually, if we use our language, you can say it is emptiness, it is that non-duality, it is that oneness. But when Mahamudra is shared over here, it is that total orgasm. And I will be sharing quite a few things from Osho's commentary on this song of Mahamudra, because I had read it many years back, but I had not understood then. But lately I was just thinking, okay, what should we do? So I found it and I thought, let's do the session here. So sharing from Osho's commentary on this song. And he has shared that when you love someone, that is where you can get a glimpse of that total cosmic orgasm. Then there is a melting and the merging that two people feel. When we say na, do jism ek jaan, or the bodies are separate, but both the souls just becomes one. And it is like the energy has become one for both of them. They have actually become one. And if you have experienced that love, that orgasm in love, then it is easy to understand what Mahamudra can be. Because Mahamudra is millions and millions and millions times deeper and millions times higher. Because there the merging is with one person. Here the merging is with the universe itself. No boundaries, nothing is left. It is the total orgasm with the whole. It is the melting into the source of the being. This is the song of Mahamudra. And it is so beautiful that Tilopa calls it a song, because once that happens, once that experience is there, you cannot say it. You can only sing and you can only dance. And there are many mystics who have just simply danced after their ultimate experience because they could not really do anything else. Another thing with the experience of the ultimate is that one, it is not an experience, and second, it cannot be communicated. So the experience is more like experiencing. It's a process. You enter into it, you go into it, but you can never possess it. You can possess objects, you can possess thoughts, emotions, memories, but you can never possess what happens in the Mahamudra. It's like dropping in the ocean, or the ocean itself dropping into the drop. So nothing is left. So nothing can be said about it. And that is a big challenge that all mystics experience, that when they come to know about the ultimate, how do they say it? How do they communicate it? Even if the words are used, whatever symbols are used, actually it just cannot be said. And if you see the first paragraph in the Song of the Mahamudra, it says, Mahamudra transcends all words and symbols, right? It cannot, the experience cannot be shared in words and symbols. And the moment you try to say it, it will be wrong, it will be false. And then he says, but for you, Naropa, earnest and loyal, this I have to say this. And for you, Naropa, that which cannot be said, that which cannot be given any symbols, must be said for a disciple. That which is absolutely invisible must be made visible for a disciple. And which disciple? A disciple who is surrendered to the master. So it depends a lot on the disciple. It is said that Tilopa wandered all over India looking for one man who could receive such a gift, who would appreciate such a gift. But he really could not find anybody. And finally, this gift was only received by Naropa, who was able to absorb it, who was able to be reborn through it, and who was totally transformed because of this. So a gift which just cannot be given to anyone. Tilopa is giving a song for Naropa. And then he says, I have to say this. The emptiness does not need support. The emptiness does not need support. Mahamudra rests on nothing. Now look at it, the words are so beautiful. If there is something, that is what that needs support, isn't it? If there is something, if there is a structure, if there is a form, then it needs a reliance, it needs a support. But if there is nothing, if there is just emptiness, what support are you going to provide? Does it need anything? It doesn't need anything. And this is the deepest realization of all the knowers, that your being is actually a non-being. And there is nothing over there. There is nothing. You are neither this nor that. You are no one. And even the scientists have come to the same truth through their scientific research today, which we all know, that the more you go into the matter, you find that there is no substance. Actually, there is nothing. A rock exists, for example. When we look at a rock, we say a rock is there, and we feel that it is very substantial. And we can hit somebody's head with it, and the blood will come out, and the man may even die. It is substantial. But actually, if you ask the physicist, they will say it is nothing. There is nothing in it. Because if you just keep breaking, you keep going inside, it is just empty. That is where it is. And that's what Tilopa is also telling to Naropa, that it rests on nothing. There is nothing over there. Let me share a story over here, and it's actually very popular. You may all have heard it as well, between King Milanda and Nagasena. Have you all heard that story? Have you heard these names? Okay, Graham has written here, Tilopa hit Naropa with his sandal. That is how he got it. Naropa made a urine mandala for Tilopa because they were in the desert and Guru hit him. No, I have not heard this, Graham. I do remember I have read this, that Tilopa hit Naropa with the sandal, but I don't know if it was Tilopa and Naropa or was it Marpa or Milarepa. So there are two more of them. So I'm not sure about that. Okay, so you guys have not heard the story of King Milanda and Nagasena. Oh, you're going to enjoy that then. King Milanda was actually a viceroy of Alexander the Great. And when Alexander went back from India, he left Milanda. And Milanda heard about Nagasena from his ministers. And he had heard many stories about Nagasena, and many people were talking about him, saying that Nagasena is a rare phenomenon. It is very rare that a man like that, flowers, and this man has flowered. He's mysterious. So when he heard so much about it, he said, okay, why don't we invite Nagasena to the court? Now the messenger was sent to Nagasena, and when he came back, the messenger was very puzzled. So he told King Milind that Nagasena said, yes, if he invites, Nagasena will come. But tell Milind that there is no one like Nagasena. If he invites, I will come. But tell him exactly that there is no one like I am. I am no more. Now the messenger was like really puzzled that if Nagasena is no more, then who will come? So he came and he told Milind and he said, Ki, I think this man is mad. I don't think you need to invite him to the court. If somebody says, I am no more, but I will come, this is like a really somebody who doesn't know what it is. So you let it be. But King Milind was even more intrigued and he said, no, this man is talking in puzzles, but let him come. I would really want to meet such a man and we'll see. So Nagasena came to Milind's court and Milind went down, he went out to receive him. Okay, so generally if you know, the people come to the court, the kings never go out to receive, but he went out to receive at the gate. And the moment he saw Nagasena, he said, I am puzzled. You have come, but you say that you are not. How is that? Please clarify. He couldn't even wait for him to come inside. Okay, he just asked him on the gate. So Nagasena said, yes, of course. And I'm going to settle that with you right now. And in fact, all the courtiers, they also came. The whole crowd gathered. People came over there. And Nagasena said, please ask. So Milind asked him, tell me, if something is not, how can it come? If something is not, how can it come? So Nagasena just laughed. Okay, he said, okay, do you look at this rath? You call it a rath, the cart on which he had come. You had sent a cart for me, right? So Milind said, yes. So Nagasena asked the people over there, he said, please remove the bullocks from this. So the bullocks were removed. And Nagasena asked Milind, are these bullocks the cart? And Milind said, of course not. Bullocks are not the cart. So then he said, please remove the wheels. He removed the wheels. And he said, okay, are these wheels the cart? So Milind said, of course not. The wheels are not the cart. Like that, he just kept on removing one after the other, each and every part. Okay, and kept on asking Milind that everything, is this the cart? Is this the cart? And every time Milind would say, no, it is not the cart. So when everything was removed and there was nothing, then Nagasena asked, now tell me, where is the cart that I had come in? And we never removed the cart. Please remember, we never removed the cart. All that we removed, you confirmed that this is not the cart. So where is the cart? So and now Milind had no answer because it was true. Everything had been removed, but there was no cart. The cart was never removed. And if cart was never removed, then was cart there in the first place? So Nagasena said then to Milind, just like this, Nagasena does not exist. It is only a combination of parts. Just like the cart was a combination of parts. You put the parts together and the cart appears. It looks that there is a cart, but there is no cart. There are only different pieces put together. Similarly, Nagasena does not exist. You remove the parts and Nagasena will disappear. Who is Nagasena? It's just a crisscrossing lines of energy. Remove the lines and the dot will disappear. That's it. I will disappear. So then, of course, the dialogue continues, but this is, which is the most important part. There is no I. There is no I. You don't exist. That is what Mahamudra is. That is what the message of Tilopa for Naropa is. The final attainment, the state of Mahamudra is a nothing. It is nothing. And this nothing, this void, this emptiness does not need any support. Let's go further. It says, Mahamudra rests on nothing without making an effort, but remaining loose and natural. One can break the yoke, thus reaching liberation. Now, what does Tilopa mean by loose and natural? So, what he's saying is, don't be, do not fight with yourself, do not be artificial, do not try to make a structure around you. Don't discipline yourself too much. Otherwise, this structure, this disciplining, this process, that itself will become a bondage for you. That will imprison you. And actually, if you see, what the society has done to all of us is that society teaches us to have habits, to be good, to be moral, to be this, to be that, to have a character. So what the society has done is provided a structure. And how do habits help us? In the survival process. Habits actually automate our actions. It becomes very, very simple and easy to survive in the world because everything is automated. But here, the message of Tilopa is completely different. He's saying you don't need a structure, you need to be loose, you need to be alert. It's not about having a character, because the moment you take on a character, again you lose that spontaneity, you lose that awareness. Because what is happening is that everything, the moment you form a character, even saying the truth has become a habit, isn't it? You just decide, you take on a principled approach that I am going to speak the truth, and you speak the truth as part of the habit. But life is not that simple. Life is very, very complex. And there can be times when actually it is more important to tell a lie, isn't it? Truth can be dangerous, or truth may not be useful at all. It is just not required. What is more important is that you stay aware. But if you have a fixed mind, if you are living out of your beliefs and values and ideas and concepts, then what you are doing is you are living out of a structure. And if you are living out of a structure, then you cannot attain to Mahamudra. You have to stay alert and spontaneous and aware. That is about being loose and flexible. So Tilopa doesn't say be moral. He says be natural. Just be loose. Be flexible. And then one can break the yoke, thus gaining the liberation. He says liberation is not very far away. It is just hidden behind you. You just need to be authentic and the door is open. All that is required is authenticity. But the problem is that is which we don't do. We just remain hypocrites and false and remain secure in our convictions, in our conditioning. And that is why liberation is so far, far away. But the moment you become authentic, liberation is very, very natural. You know, there was this Zen monk who was asked, Lin Chi, his name was Lin Chi. So somebody asked him that, what has happened to you, Lin Chi? People say that you have become enlightened. Have you become enlightened? So he shrugged his shoulders and he said, happened? Nothing. Nothing has happened to me. What nonsense you are talking about. I have just become, it is so natural. I'm still carrying water from the well. I'm cutting wood in the forest. When I feel sleepy, I go to sleep. When I feel hungry, I eat. It's absolutely natural. That is all that has happened. No enlightenment. So, what is liberation? Liberation is nothing but actually about being perfectly natural. It's not something that one can brag about and say, oh, I have attained something. There is no attainment, nothing great, nothing extraordinary. It's just about being natural, just being yourself. That is all that is required. I'll just pause here if somebody has any questions or somebody wants to add or share anything. Okay, let me read the messages. Graham is sharing great book on Naropa's yogic instruction. Okay. I have practiced this on my own for years based on the book. Okay. So there would be practices here. Okay, tell me, was there a practice called Tammo or Dream Yoga or anything like that? Because earlier what I read is that there are some instructions like that which Tilopa had learned.
Yeah, no, this just focuses on, we were talking about it before, Mooney. This is, it's like straight, like Hatha yoga. It's just basically detailing, forcing the lower energies up and the upper energies down. And as they say, forming a tantric kiss, in your lower abdomen, and then that ignites and goes up your central channel. So it's detailed instructions. It all focuses on that. And of course, in the Tibetan system, and I guess all systems, the prerequisites are developing bodhicitta, and as you discussed, having an understanding of emptiness. Those are prerequisites for being successful. And a relationship with a guru.
Right.
But it's all focused on the yoga, the yogic practice.
Okay.
And so not dream yoga, in this practice.
Okay, got it. But I think what you spoke about, that that creating the fire, and you're also talking about inner fire. They have this practice of Tammo. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it correctly or not, but I did practice it long time back.
Yeah.
You know about Tammo?
Sorry. Yeah, this would be what it is. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Same thing. Absolutely. Same thing. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think when that fire is created inside the body, it burns certain patterns, or it burns some, it brings in purification. Let me put it that way. That is what it does. So it prepares you.
They say that's the fuel for it. Yeah.
Correct. Great. Thanks for sharing this.
And it is. I mean, at least Lama Yeshe says, it's a cute story that they were walking in the desert, and Tilopa suddenly decided to give Naropa initiation. Unable to make any other preparations, Naropa mixed his urine with sand and offered this to his guru as a mandala. Then Pam, Tilopa beat him on the head with his sandal. Naropa went into deep meditation for 7 days.
Wow.
So Pam it's connected to the inner fire thing, because Pam is for the Tibetan, for this practice, is considered the seed syllable of the Dakini, which is the lower fire energy.
Right. So I was talking about Dakini as well. In both their narratives, Tilopa and Naropa, they were visited by Dakini, who guided them on the spiritual journey. So do you know more about Dakini?
And again, I was doing this on my own without a guru,
right.
So I wasn't really successful at all, and might be a good thing. Though I did meet people in this direct lineage from disciples of Lama Yeshe, so I did get some instructions, but I wasn't very successful. So having said that, so the seed syllable is Pam, which you guys are familiar with, and you visualize that seed syllable, and it becomes it forms into the Dakini, and
Okay.
So, and that is the what you visualize kind of as traveling up your central channel, and you either have it meet. You can have it meet in a lower center or meet in the heart center. And it meets the Anjana chakra, or the chakra that's between your eyebrows. They believe that white and red drops and energy drops. One being the white drop being the male energy, the same as the right and left channel, right?
Okay.
Those drops meet each other. So it's the fuel is that your energy from your right and left channel are meeting at the center down there. And that's related to the Dakini, right? So the Dakini energy is the red energy.
Okay, okay.
It sounds exactly the same to me as the Hatha yoga practice, right?
Right.
Where Shiva is meeting Parvati or whatever, yeah.
So what I had read earlier, what I had read was supposed to be a female spirit who is guiding people. So I think, I think that's just a symbolic saying. It's a female spirit guiding the spiritual aspirants, as you are saying, energy. And now here Madhuri is saying it is worshipped as Kul Devi in Bihar. And Ruchika is saying it is the deity of Muladhar in the Kundalini sadhana. Okay. So it is
That's
that
my
internal
understanding.
energy.
Yeah,
Yes, that makes sense actually.
It's the female deity. It's Shiva's consort. Yeah, that's my understanding.
Thank you. So other than the song of Mahamudra, which has been given by Tilopa, there is also these 6 words of advice given by him, which I found really very interesting. Very simple and very clear if we see. First one is like, don't recall, let go of what has passed, right? Very, very practical and things which one can easily look at and realize. Don't imagine, let go of what may come. Don't think, let go of what is happening now. Don't examine, don't try to figure anything out. Don't control, don't try to make anything happen, and rest. Relax right now and rest. So he did give these 6 words of advice before the song of Mahamudra. All right, so we'll continue with the song. We'll take maybe one more paragraph, and rest we can do next time. Also, do a little more on the other 2 disciples, which is Marpa and Milarepa. It's very interesting. Now, further, he says, if one sees nothing when staring into space, if with the mind one then observes the mind, one destroys distinctions and reaches Buddhahood. The clouds that wander through the sky have no roots, no home, nor do the distinctive thoughts which float through the mind. Once the nature of mind is seen, discrimination stops. So let's see what is he saying over here. First is, let's understand the mind. What is mind? The mind is the root of all our problems, isn't it? Mind is what stuff it is made of. It is a process. And unless we understand that there are no problems or there are no individual problems, but mind itself is the problem, then it becomes much easier to deal with it. And mind is something which is invisible. What we are seeing is the problem. So what we are seeing are the branches and the leaves of the tree. We are not seeing the root. And what we do is we keep on solving problems. We keep on looking at individual problems. So what we are doing is we are pruning. We are saying, okay, let me cut this branch. Let me cut these leaves. Let me cut that other branch. So we are pruning the tree. But by pruning the tree, we are only making it thicker and better, isn't it? So wasting a lot of energy and time in fighting with the problems. So there is no need to try or solve problems because there are none. One only has to understand the mind. No need to fight with the visible, and that is the fact. Also, people ask like, my mind is not peaceful. How do I attain a peaceful mind? So what one needs to realize is that mind can never be peaceful. There is no such thing as peaceful mind. Yes. Can there be peace? Yes. Can there be silence? Yes. Can there be clarity? Yes. But mind is not clear. Mind is only confusion. Clarity, peace, silence can be possible without the mind. But what happens is these millions of thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the memories, when they come together, they give the illusion that there is a mind. It's just a crowd. So what does one has to do? And what is he saying over here? What is he sharing over here? That as you watch the mind, the thoughts, you keep on watching the thoughts, and a time will come that there will be intervals in between. Just like when you see a very clouded sky. The sky is there, but it is all covered with clouds. And the clouds can be so thick that the sky can be completely hidden. So the blueness of the sky is lost. But if we just stay there and keep on watching these clouds, there is a possibility in between somewhere suddenly, a gap will come in and we'll be able to see that sky. And this glimpse of the sky, that is where it begins. It is also known as Satori, the glimpse that you get, that yes, there is. So, beyond the mind, being able to look at that emptiness, that is what gives you a Satori. And then becoming that sky, being able to see that gap and see the sky is the Satori. And becoming the sky becomes the Samadhi. So, that is what the whole process is about. Osho has talked a lot about Gurdjieff, and Gurdjieff used to say just only one thing is needed, that do not be identified with that which comes and goes. The moment you get identified, you become the mind. So there are thoughts, there are emotions, there are memories, all of these are going on. But the moment you will become identified with them, then what will happen is you become that mind and you feel that there is a mind, whereas there is no mind. And these are the thoughts which are just carrying on, which are giving that there is a mind, just those scattered thoughts. And even the physicist, there was this physicist, Eddington, who said that the deeper science goes into matter, what the realization is that things are thoughts. You see, things becoming thoughts. Now, things are not things. Like suppose when we look at a rock is not a rock, but rock is a thought. Now, when we know that if we hit somebody with a rock, that person is going to bleed. Now, here is something which Tantra has found, that you can also hit another person with a thought. And this is the basis of all the Tantra. So here what we are saying is that the things are nothing but thoughts. Okay, let's go through it again. Things are nothing but thoughts, and vice versa is also there. The thoughts are also things. So if you have a thought which is so strong, and if you keep on hitting that thought again and again, whether you have that for another person or for yourself, it is going to, it will result into some consequence. Like you can give your thought as a gift to somebody, or you can also give it as an infection or give it as a curse to another person. So if there are people, if there is a person who continuously thinks about your welfare, it is going to happen. How? Because he is throwing a continuous force at you. The thoughts are full of energy, the thoughts are full of force. And that's why, when we take blessings from the gurus and the saints and people who stay in that no mind state, that is why their thoughts are very, very powerful, because there is so much energy about them. Their thoughts are as powerful as there are things. So just like you can break somebody's head with a rock, you can also actually change a person's life through a thought, a positive thought. Or what we call as black magic, like that is about thinking negatively about a person, sending curses to a person, and that does manifest. In fact, Osho had shared a very interesting story about one of the Israelis who could, his name was Uri Geller, and he could, like how we would have seen in the movie Matrix as well, that you can bend spoon with a thought. So he used to actually do these things publicly, that he would go and things would be kept from him like about 10 feet away, and he would look at them and he would be able to bend them. And once he was doing this experiment on BBC. And what happened that in BBC, and it was a live experiment going on, something very interesting happened is that not only was he able to bend those objects around him with the thought, but the people who were watching the live experiments, okay, on TV, in many houses in England, actually, the things, the spoons and objects in their houses, they got bent and they fell down and they got distorted. Now, this is something amazing if you think about it, because that means that the thought is also getting broadcasted. Can you imagine how powerful it is? What he is doing is in a live show there, but it is affecting so many people's houses over there. So that is how powerful the thought is. But here what we are talking about going into the no thinking mode. No thinking. And how does one do that? So here what he has shared is, if one sees nothing when staring into space. So he's given actually a practice here, and he says you just look, because whenever we are looking at things and objects and there is something in our mind. But if you can look into the space, look at objects without really looking, just keep looking, having an empty look, a time will come when there will be nothing. What you will be seeing outside will be nothing. You will only be looking, but you will not be seeing that. And once that happens in the outside, then you turn that look inside. You start looking inside. So just looking, okay, not seeing, just looking. And as you will look inside the inner sky, which is empty, which is no mind, if you are able to locate that space within you inside, after that, when you look at the mind, after that, when you look at the thoughts, the emotions, whatever is going on in there, you will find that they have no roots. They will only float through. You will not get identified with them. You will not become one with them. You will be able to see them. What we understand over here as awareness. You will be able to see that the thoughts are coming and going. Emotions are coming and going. Memories are coming and going. There is no root. Just like the clouds are floating in the sky, there is no root, they have no home over there. Similarly, you will find that thoughts are also floating in the mind. And once this nature of the mind is seen, then discrimination is stopped. That is where there will be no distinction. There will be nothing good, nothing bad, nothing ugly, nothing beautiful. And then the Buddhahood is reached. That is where Buddhahood. What is Buddhahood? The highest awakening. When there are no distinctions, all divisions are lost and unity is attained. Only one remains, just one. And actually, we know that you cannot even call it one, because the moment we say one, that deep down what you are saying is two, isn't it? So we don't even say one. We simply say that two has also disappeared. That is the oneness. No boundaries over there. That is the emptiness. That is the space. That Tilopa is talking about. The Mahamudra that he achieved, and something that he wants to transfer to Naropa. So we'll stop over here, and the rest we can do in the next session. I'll just see, there are some more messages here. Satori means Sushupti. No, Satori is not Sushupti, Madhuri. Sushupti is the sleeping. But Satori is getting a glimpse of the ultimate. You may not have become that emptiness, but there is a glimpse of that emptiness, that glimpse of that no mind state, that open sky inside you, It's just like, for even a nanosecond, if it just comes and goes, but the taste remains. And the taste then pushes you, encourages you to take on the full journey. That is how it happens. Shrey is saying, I heard that it is like samadhi of 7 chakra. Every chakra has their own samadhi. No, no, no. That is not what it is. So, another way to put it is, you see, let's say if you have to go and climb Mount Everest, and before you reach the Mount Everest, there would be a point somewhere below from where you'll be able to see the top. You're still down there below, but you can see the top, a glimpse of it. That is the Satori. And Samadhi is being able to reach there. Once you reach there, that is the Samadhi. It is beautiful, isn't it? Same message, same knowledge, just told differently. Anything else anyone would like to ask or share? Some of these traditions are so very interesting. Like I had started reading about these, all these four masters long time back, maybe 15, 20 years back. Read a few books, and then I had even read this song, the song of the Mahamudra. Of course, I did not understand it at all. But I think we seekers, when we are seeking, we are just wanting to try everything, whatever comes in the way. We just want to explore. And I must share that I even tried, just like as Graham was saying, Graham at least found a master, Lama Yashe, right? But I have also done these little bit of practices by reading them. Although I know they shouldn't be done, but some of those things I tried. Whatever, wherever you feel, oh, here is a practice which has been given, let's try that. But of course, today the Song of Mahamudra makes sense. So, but very interesting lives that they've had, and how they have put in that, how they have put that into the words. That is so beautiful. Thank you, Madhuri. In which literature? You have to look under Tibetan Buddhism. You can just simply Google it. You Google Tilopa, Naropa, Milarepa. Graham is saying, isn't the same as Kriya Yoga? No, Kriya Yoga is a different practice. Of course, eventually the results are the same. So, for example, when we talk about Kriya Yoga, that is also about igniting the inner fire. We call it the yagya, the havan that you do, because when you are working on your left and the right energy, the ida and the pingla, and when the sushumna gets activated, so what does that do? That does purification for you. It just burns everything inside. Burn in the sense there is no fire as such, but yes, during the practices there is this feeling of heat. And I now do realize that that is important. And I think some of these, like this Tammo thing, I tried after reading a book for many days, and I could create that fire. I still remember. I used to practice whatever was given over there, and I could feel that heat inside the body. So just like that, it was fun. Thankfully, no harm came to me through these practices, although I wouldn't advise anyone to go and do them. One really never knows. So, all right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I hope you guys enjoyed the session. You gained, learned something new, something different, although there is nothing new at all. So, and we'll do a little bit more next time. So, thank you so much.